And now, Talk Time Tax Tips with Rapid Tax Service.
Good afternoon, I'm Nicole Burks and I'm here with Joe Lotiger for Rapid Tax Service. What if someone has purchased rental property this year? How can they deduct that on their taxes?
Oh, that's a good question. Rental property is basically another form of a small business, okay? The only difference is that rental property does not go on Schedule C, the tax form Schedule C that is for a small business. It goes on a form called Schedule E, all right? So that's the first thing to make note of. Like any other business, you want to make sure you keep your records for any kind of rental income that you receive, okay? You also want to keep your records for any kind of repairs or any kind of expenses you might have as far as this rental property. Now, what I recommend for people, because the IRS does like to occasionally, in the event of an audit, they will make you prove it. If you put an ad in the paper, cut it out and keep a copy, or keep a copy of that newspaper page that has your ad in it, okay? I recommend that you get a separate bank account to put your real estate income or your real estate revenue, not income, in, because you don't necessarily want to commingle it with your personal bank account, all right? Highly recommend that, and if you think, again, in the event of an audit, you would not want the IRS to look through your personal bank records, because that was where you deposited your rental income. Copies of leases are always good, okay? Now, the major difference for a lot of people when it comes to rental real estate is that the income you do make off that property is not subject to Social Security tax. It's part of what makes rental property very popular with people, because you save that 15% Social Security tax as the employer and the employee on your tax return.
What if someone has filed bankruptcy this year? What should they do as far as filing their taxes?
Well, that's more of a legal designation, and there's different types of bankruptcy, 7, 11, and 13. Depending on the type of bankruptcy they filed, they could be in a situation where they find their refund is garnished for whatever reason, but again, that's somewhat of a legal question. If you did file bankruptcy, I recommend you check with your bankruptcy attorney.
Thank you, Joe.
My pleasure.
This has been another great Tax Tip Tuesday. Join us next week for another segment with Joe from Rapid Tax Service.
Keep watching WDEF News 12 for more Talk Time Tax Tips with Rapid Tax Service.